Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandi, along with their world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey, everybody. Long time no see. A lot of you guys. Just seen you over on Bart Show.
I know. I just saw Liberty. Liberty says, woo, now we're sweating because we ran over from Barton's place.
We apologize for having to get out of Bart Show. That was a good show, but however, we had to get ready for this, and my food delivery came, and I had to stuff my face and refresh my tea and all that good stuff. So
exactly. And I had to get another bottle of water, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we're running.
Right. So we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in over here and joining our family. You want to remind everybody to watch this week? And
there's some news. So let me just start, and I'll get there. On Monday nights at 8 p.m., of course, it's Texas Front Porch. That is Central Time with his best co-host, which is me. That's me. Anyway, on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central, it is Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m., it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. At 8 p.m., it is Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and his lovely wife, Letitia. On Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, it's Blondes and Booze. Now, here's where we're going to go a little crazy. Starting next week, ladies and gentlemen, Blondes and Booze on Friday nights will start at 7 p.m. Central. We're doing this because Paranormal Roundtable will now be starting at 8, so we're going to back up an hour and start at 7. So everybody can get in and watch and not miss a thing.
Right.
On Saturdays we don't have any shows. Everything is open, but you never.
However, I do believe that Paranormal Paul, Paranormal Among Us, I believe he's going to start doing live shows on Saturday nights.
Well, let us know, and we'll mention him too. Let us know. Yep. On Sundays, of course, at 5 p.m. Central, it is Truth or Tinfoil. We are not having a show this week due to the Super Bowl. I hope everybody, enjoys their time, whether they're rooting for a team or not. But we're going to say go Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Got the Missouri girls here. Go Chiefs.
Yep.
And 6 p.m. Central, Tex and Danielle Devo released their newest episode of Infamous Minds. I'm not sure if they're having one this week because of Super Bowl. I have not yet heard. So just stay tuned to his channel and you'll find out.
Yep. So as Brandi said, so next Thursday, 8 p.m., Blondes and Booze right here. On Friday, we'll be at 7. So
yes, we're going to start at 7.
Yep.
Yes.
So that way everybody
again,
doesn't have to miss any of the good shows, and
right. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So this way, like we were just talking about, Josh Turner and Paranormal Roundtable have decided they're going to start at 8 o'clock. So we're just going to back up an hour. Instead of going, 8 o'clock and then Josh starts at 9, we're going to go at 7 and Josh starts at 8. So everybody will be able to enjoy all the shows.
Yep, absolutely. And Martin Groves, somebody said, if I come over here, there was hot dogs and sauce.
Well, Letitia is in chat. Letitia is in chat. Hit her up.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. We're
Real
going
quick,
to.
let's talk about the Alabama Bigfoot Conference.
Absolutely. Real quick, June, well, it's basically June 8th. Is the conference itself. June 7th, all the seats for the room that we were having the meet and greet in are all reserved now. But like I said, it's a full restaurant. You can come have dinner and come in and mingle if you'd like. If not, you can wait till after the dinner is over. I'm sure we'll be out for a little while, so we'll be able to meet with you and talk with you then. This is being held at the Anniston Performing Arts Center in Anniston, Alabama. I keep wanting to say this about the hotels because everybody's asking. There are no hotels in Anniston. It's in Oxford, Alabama, which is probably about a 5-minute drive. And all the hotels there are located or centrally located in one area. And don't worry, all the hotels you can walk to and from within the parking lots. There's no distance really between them. So don't worry about what hotel you book. Just get you one because they do sell out fast at that time. And like I said, I hope to see you there.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a great time.
Right.
Yeah. And Nellie's in the house. Hello, Nellie.
Hi, Nellie.
Yeah. So tonight, honestly, Brandi and I just come into the show. We're like, we've been stressed and we've had some busy weeks, and this is just going to be a chill night. So we're going to tell you about some of our encounters that we've had with the paranormal and, things like that. So that's kind of our plans tonight. And just one of those nights, huh?
Yeah, we're just here to hang out tonight. I mean, heck, we're coming into the Super Bowl. Everybody's excited. And we're like, let's just hang out. I mean, we haven't done this in a long time. We haven't just hung out. And I miss those days, Oh
yeah, we haven't done that in a long time. So, it's Brandi worked all day, I worked all day, and it's just one of those, we just want to hang out with y'all and just, really no topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go down wherever we want to go down. And anybody else in chat has any comments or questions or wants to talk about a subject, drop it, and if we know about it, we'll talk about it.
Right.
We'll tell you we don't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So do you think Taylor Swift is going to be at the Super Bowl?
Oh, of course. She's going to be at the Super Bowl. I am not a Swiftie. I am so sorry. I am not.
I'm not
I think I know maybe one or two of her songs, but that's about it. I'm not a big fan.
Here's the thing, though. The one part, I know everybody's tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. However, she is a girl supporting her boyfriend. You would do the same. I would do the same. She doesn't ask the camera. She doesn't ask for the publicity. So I'm kind of on her side with that. Like, she's supporting her boyfriend. I mean, nothing different than you and I wouldn't do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway. And who I'm hoping to see? I like Travis Kelce's brother, Jason. I hope he's there again and jumps out in the crowd like he did at the playoffs. That was hilarious.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if he gets brave enough to do it again. It just depends, I think, if they're winning or not, or how focused he is or not this time.
Yep. I see West Coast Dogman Project. Mr. Shane is in there, and I do believe he's a San Francisco fan. So
he is a 49er fan.
Yeah. He's on the other team.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. We're all friends here. We're all friends.
We are friends. We are all friends here. That's what makes it work.
That's right.
Yeah. Hello, Aaron.
Right. Hello, Aaron.
Erin's our good friend from the Ray County Museum. She helps Kathy over there a lot, and friend, very close personal friend of mine and Brandi's.
Right.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just before we do that, Blondes and Booze has an event, and we haven't really talked about it much. And we really need to start talking about this because this is something really super cool. We're going to go a little bit paranormal with this event. Well, we're going to go a lot paranormal with this event. If you like to ghost hunt or never ghost hunted or just even wanted to see what it's all about, we are holding an event May 18th at Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois. But the cool thing about this is we're going to have a couple of speakers during the day. And then we're going to feed you dinner. And then we're going to take you ghost hunting.
That's
so...
Right. And what's really cool about Ashmore, tell them about the setup. So you don't have to ghost hunt with us, or you can just come and hang up because there's fire pits and it's awesome.
Yeah. You can hang outside. You can watch the skies because let me tell you, there have been UFO sightings in that area. It is in the middle of cornfields, so there are no trees. There's nothing to block your view. You have plenty to look at.
Yep.
Hi, Dustin. Just like Dustin says, well, hi, Dustin. There's plenty of things other than that to do. But like I said, we're going to have a couple of speakers. And they're going to be really good ones. And then we're going to, like I said, we're going to have something to eat. And then we're going to ghost hunt. And it's just a fantastic, relaxing time. Because I know at some conferences, it's all about speakers. Yep. Well, no, this is about hearing some speakers. But this is about really finding out what's going on in the paranormal. And, it's para-unity. So...
Right. Absolutely. I'm going to put the flyer up here. And we are talking to a few more speakers. But right now we have Robin Terry. He's the owner of Ashmore Estates. He also owns the Haunted Art Theater. He's going to come and be there and talk to everybody about the buildings and the histories and, all the weird and crazy things. And at his Haunted Art Theater, he actually lives there. And he's got a painting there from John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer.
Yeah, he also has that chest. He bought that armoire, I think he said too.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of items there. Yeah. Also, Robin Terry, of course, owns Ashmore Estates. But if you've watched any major ghost investigator show on TV, on the Travel Channel, on A&E, they've all been to his location, including Jack Osborne and everybody from Destination Fear and you name it, they've been there and he's met them all and keeps in contact with a bunch of them. So he'll be great to hear from.
Yeah. And real quick, Erin, absolutely, we can have campfire coffee. She makes campfire coffee.
Yes, we want campfire coffee that night. Absolutely.
Yeah. So bring it, Erin. But we have Robin Terry. We have Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor. He owns Malvern. He is a good friend to Brandi and I, and he's going to come over and hang out with everybody and do some ghost hunting. And if you've never investigated with Josh, he's a blast to investigate with. Right. And then we have our friend Paul Anthony from Paranormal Among Us. He's going to come over. He's a Missouri guy. He's on the other side of St. Louis from where I'm at. And he's going to come over there and hang out with us as well. So it'll be cool. It'd be a good time.
Right. So you're looking at about 15 hours with us, everyone, for that ticket price. Yeah. You got 15 hours.
And we're even going to feed you.
Yeah. So if you find me sleeping in a corner, mind your business. Mind your business. Give me 20 minutes.
That's right. So yeah, that's going to be a fun event. I personally have had, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you like how many encounters and things I've had happen to me at Ashmore.
Right. And this venue, I will say, we take our daughters to.
Yeah.
They're both 13. Mm-hmm. We take our daughters to them, and I have no fear.
Mm-hmm. Actually, mine wants to come back with me to this event, so I will be bringing Ava with me.
Well, we'll probably have another in tow. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably have the junior booze with us. The junior booze.
Yep.
Neither one of them are blonde, so
No, neither one of them are.
no.
Yep.
So,
And
I mean,
War's
it's
Sophie
good.
at Ashmore too. That's cool.
Right.
War. Yeah.
It's just gonna be a good time.
It is.
We have more events that we'll talk about later on at different places. We have, of course, Malvern Manor in Iowa, and we're going back to the museum in Richmond, Missouri.
In October.
And but those are later on. But we're going to discuss these right now because really, you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
No. And like the Malvern one, we're going to feed you that night too. But we're going to feed you a taco bar that night.
Yes.
And then you know what? Let's talk briefly about the Ray County Museum one, because that's kind of going to be a little bit of a different one at the museum.
Yes.
We're also going to feed you there too, and that one's going to be a pasta bar. So, Brandi, you want to talk about what we're kind of changing it up, doing a little different over there?
Well, what we're going to do is during the afternoon at the Ray County Museum. This was October, correct?
October
what 19th. We're going to do there is we're going to have like a basics, like a cryptid 101, and we're going to have a paranormal 101, and we're going to talk a couple hours on each subject for people who really just are getting their feet wet, just to really, find out what's really going on in these communities and what's happening and what information is out there. And of course, we're going to be talking about things that have been happening, some reports, but it's really going to be an awesome time. And we also have After Dark Paranormal is going to be with us and speaking at that one also.
Yep.
And Terry Mosby, if any of you have seen her in chat before, and she's
been on a few times.
Yeah. And she is really, if you want to talk aliens, or if you want to talk cryptid, or if you want to talk ghost, or even like demonology or the occult, or you want to talk about it, she knows something.
Mm-hmm. She does. She's a fantastic person, and she's a good friend. And her team is going to be there at all three of our events, and co-hosting this with us. So
yes, and Terry's birthday was yesterday.
Yes, so happy birthday, Terry!
Happy birthday, Terry!
If you're listening, Letitia says, "Is this one I agreed to come to, but not go hunting?" Yes, Letitia is actually going to be, and I guess she just made it official. I didn't know it was official. That's why I didn't say anything, and she's not on the flyer or nothing. But yes, Letitia is going to come to Ashmore Estates.
Okay.
I know.
She's on the flyer. We'll
get her on the flyer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there is one more that we can talk about too, that Brandi and I have coming up in March. And Overbuild Automotive asked question, Brandi, Krista, you all coming to Harriman, Tennessee soon, ain't ya? That's just a minute drive from him to that hospital. So yes, Overbuilt, we will be there. Absolutely. We are her cryptid speakers. And
yes, March 23rd and 24th.
Yep. So we're gonna talk a little bit of Bigfoot and Mothman and Jersey Devil and Dogman and
whatever. We're gonna talk about it.
A little bit of everything for sure. And I'll go ahead and let me put that flyer up real quick, because that'll be a fun one. So tickets are on sale now. It's Women of the Paranormal Celebration. And it is for a great cause. It's women it helps support women from domestic abuse.
And it is for everyone, believe me. It is not just for women. This conference is for men and women.
Yep.
So keep that in mind.
Yep. Anybody is welcome to come over there and see it. And
if you're interested in hunting the Harriman Hospital, I think they still have tickets available for that, but you can go to that website and check it out.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, we do have a lot going on. And then, we got we already talked about Alabama, and Josh said on the show last night, he talked about the next Dogman conference. So we'll be there for that one.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to do Falk, Arkansas in April.
Yes, I will be there. Abby has agreed to come with me.
Yeah, I may or may not. I'm still up in the air. It's my kid's birthday. So if we could celebrate it the weekend before, then it might be good. My kid's birthday and my anniversary. So.
Oh, well, I doubt if you'll be able to come, but hey, You'll be there in spirit. I'll get the Blondes and Booze poster up.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, I really like Falk though. When we were down there before, it's a cool area, and
Yeah, well, I have to address this. Sherry said that it's a great cause and men get abused too, and that is very true. I don't know all the information on it, but the same organization that is putting the women of the paranormal out is going to be doing one for men also, yes. And I believe that's going to be in the fall.
Yes, I think you are correct on that. Yep. So yeah, it's a good cause.
Yeah,
for sure. So what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Everybody in chat, you just want to, I've got a few encounters. I've got some encounters, so
I can talk about my roundabout weird story. It is paranormal, but it's got a twist to it that I didn't ever see coming. I didn't even realize.
Well, let's hear
it. What it is I've talked about this before, is there is a old theater built back in the 1940s in my town that I investigated for about 2.5 years, and I would do it quite a bit. It got to the point where the spirits there knew who I was. They would make certain noises just for me when I'd come through a certain area. They, or they would play pranks and jokes and things on me, and you could audibly hear them laugh because they knew it was happening. And this particular building, this theater, was built, like I said, in the 1940s. But before that there was a boarding house. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 27. It was 1927 or 29. I can't remember exactly which right now. But there was a tornado that ripped right through my small town. Well, within 10 minutes, it killed 100 people. And there was other people that were hurt and everything, but in this place, there was a boarding house, and their front yard was used as the triage. 1927. Thank you very much. It was used as triage for this horrific event, and many people died that day in just a very short time. It knocked down our courthouse. It took out 10 square blocks downtown. During that time, we had a red light district. It was right on the railroad tracks. So, there was a lot of fun things happening. I'm not going to go into detail, but there was a lot of fun things happening during that time in this town. And so the theater was built in the 1940s after the boarding house was torn down. And it's in a resemblance of kind of like a cruise ship. Like when they were coming home from war, they would send them home on a ship. So they wanted them to have this feeling of this overjoy of coming home on a luxury liner, should I say. So this is kind of reminiscent of it, with the windows and the doors and the kind of the layout. And it has one of the last remaining free-floating ceilings that are still intact. And it's really weird because it is concrete and it's held on by wires, but you have to go upstairs and look down upon it. And it is like, I don't know, a disc type thing. And it's just hanging there. And, I'm still scared of that thing. I hate walking under it all the time because I'm like, but it is totally intact and it is still doing very well. Mm-hmm. But I investigated this place. Now, this is probably one of the most active places I've been, and I'm going to tell you why. It's probably because I've been there a lot. Normally, Chris and I only get to investigate. Yeah, we only get to investigate places maybe a couple times here and there, so we're not there constantly to see what is going on, such as the owners or the caretakers or things like that. In this building, we had gotten a lot of names and things, either from psychic mediums or using the spirit boxes and things like that. Mm-hmm. Some of it actually rang true, because the names we had gotten, like we got a name of Archie, and Archie, we traced him back to his gravestone, his headstone that is in a cemetery that is here. And we've got, many more names just like that, and we can trace them, which was really exciting for us, because I love the history. So there were a lot of things that would happen during these times. Most of it was like walking. You could definitely hear the footsteps. They would like see me pull out my recorder, and as soon as I turn it on and start talking to somebody, you can hear somebody trying to talk right over me. I walked in one day, and I'm just bringing in bags. I'm getting ready, for the night to investigate, and I hear a woman distinctly go, "Hello." Like she knew I was coming in. She was telling me hello. And right. I heard that with my ears, not with my head. It was with my ears. So it was a disembodied voice, and you would hear that quite a bit. Yeah. But there was, you'd walk through the lobby, which is still a running theater. They're still, they put on different things there. But you go up to
when I wanted to go to that. So Brandi was on a paranormal team, and I was on a paranormal team, and we kind of did it together at one time. Is that the event you're talking about, when PTF was down there and the other group?
Yes.
Yeah, because you were there. I wasn't, and I don't remember why I had to miss that, but I've never been there. So keep talking about it, because I really, maybe one day we
I mean, well, we can't get into it now. Of course, new management. It is being run by the city, and it is owned by the county. So you know how that goes. Once they have a new manager, you either make it or you don't with them. Mm-hmm. But there were times where you could sit in there and actually they would run movies, and you'd just be sitting there all by yourself in the upper balcony, and you would hear like candy wrappers, and chewing,
that's cool.
And people talking back behind you, and there's nobody behind you. So even during live performances, all this stuff is still going on, and it's really super amazing. Mm-hmm. But they had the old time projection machines up top, where they run the reels and everything, and up in there they had a bathroom up there for the projectionist, because this is how they did that. The projectionist never left there. Wow. And the funny thing is as we're cleaning and help them preserve this theater, we're finding old packs of cigarettes and cigarette butts that haven't been around for years and years and years and years and years. Mm-hmm. You're just like, wow, how long have they been there? And they had put a pharmacy in there and a morgue.
A morgue?
Don't ask them. And a morgue. There was a morgue in there too, is the makeshift morgue after they were relocating, because their morgue was not up to standard. So they used part of the side of the theater. They have like office buildings that I would call office buildings on the side. And there was a morgue in there. And then there was a pharmacy. And going through there one night, we were talking about a different location. And the lady turned around and she goes, "Yeah, I'm still thinking about it to this day." She goes, "I can still hear what, the sounds it was making at this other location." Next thing you know, you start hearing somebody talking on an intercom, and it was distinctly a woman. Wow. And it you couldn't understand exactly what she was saying, but you can hear this woman, and she's speaking over the intercom. That intercom hasn't worked in 40 years.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it hadn't worked in 40 years. So, I mean, that was one experience. And I do have that. I'll have to, upload it so we can play it at some time, because I still do have that. Wow. And But let me tell you about the twist here. Up in the projection room, there is no electricity. Now, they have no electricity now. It has been cut off. You can check that room, do baseline readings. There is no electricity whatsoever.
Wow.
But at times, it will show EMF readings off the chart. And we can't figure out why.
Wow.
So we decided to go up there with a spirit box and we're doing the spirit box and asking questions. Well, at that time, it was a bunch of ladies up there asking. And there was a man there that was not really pleasant.
Gotcha.
And he's kind of saying things that are just not pleasant through the spirit box to all of these women. So I'm like, okay, great. Awesome. So all these things went on and we were discussing all the other things and year after year this was happening. And I had a friend who was a caretaker and their neighbor across the street had passed away and their son owned the house and they were they're still to this day taking care of the house. Now, the owner himself had lost consciousness in the house, never regained it back in the house. The ambulance came, took him to the hospital, and then later he had passed. So the house is sitting vacant, but it is sitting exactly the same to this very day. Now, this has probably been 6 years now that he's passed. Exactly the same as the day he left it. Wow. His laundry is hanging in, there.
So I heard all about that house.
Yeah.
Because our friend Mike was there.
Yes.
He told me about it. Yes.
Yes. And there's stuff laying out there. There are things in that house that should belong in a museum. I mean, there are things there that I looked at and I said, wow, this should not be here. He loved to keep things. He was not a hoarder, but he loved to keep things. And we were looking at phone books from 1929, 1932, all these old phone books. And Mike, the man that we're speaking about, he found his relative's old phone number and address in those phone books. So that was quite unique.
Yeah. It's really cool.
So we're doing the research on this particular house because the caretaker had said, hey, I'll go in, the light will be on. I didn't have that light on. I don't leave that light on. And then another time, hey, I put this particular thing on this shelf and then I find it on the table or I'll find it on the counter or they'll walk in and then they'll just hear noises throughout the house. Now they checked the house to make sure there wasn't any like raccoons or anything because it is, not lived in, but they do take care of it. So, we did all the checking, did everything we could. And so we started doing research and then we're going through all of his papers and his things because the owner of the house said, we're allowed to look through anything that he had, so we're pulling out his, old driver's license, his birth certificate, his military ID, all of this other kind of stuff because he did serve in Vietnam.
Wow.
So we're like, wow, this is super cool. Like I said, a lot of this stuff belonged in a museum. And then it came to the point where I'm looking at his name and I'm like, why does that sound familiar? And I kept thinking, why does that sound familiar? Well, so come to find out, after this man in this house came back from Vietnam, he started working at the theater as the projectionist. So he was the one coming through as George.
Wow.
I did not connect it until I found the roster of people who worked at the theater and then based it on his driver's license and his birth certificate in this house and put them together. So it kind of took us full circle from the theater all the way around to his house and investigated his house and then back to the theater. So it was really quite strange how all of this kind of fit in together. But in this house,
that's not coincidence.
no, No, it is not. It is not a coincidence because I'd seen that man before when he was living. I mean, my friends lived right across the street. So when I'd go visit them, I would see him every so often. He was a very tall man. I know he was about 6'2", 6'3". The last time I had saw him, he was kind of a waif of a man. He'd lost a lot of weight and he was in a wheelchair. So you couldn't really see exactly, how big he was. But I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm staring off into the dining room and I see a shadow person kind of peek into the doorway and then come back out.
Wow.
Now, I'm not kidding you. This shadow person was as tall as the door jamb, if not a little bit taller, and seeing him peek in. And I said, I think I just seen George,
Wow.
And
cool.
all this other thing is I did get validation in the house too, that there was something there. The caretaker was in the house with me. We were talking in the kitchen. He walks out of the kitchen and into the living room, and I'm kind of a little bit behind him. But as I'm trailing out, I hear inside my head, tell him to go home.
Wow.
And I said, did you say something, talking to my friend? He said, no, I didn't say anything. I said, somebody just told me to tell you to go home. And he busted out laughing. He said, you are absolutely right. He said, George would tell me every time I come over when he was cooking in the kitchen to go home. He said, go home. So that is definitely really cool. Because George was not a fan of men. Let's just go like that. But he loved his ladies, and he loved the blonde ones. He loved the blonde ladies. So I had a lot more interaction. So did another lady that was with us. We had a lot more interaction than anyone else did.
Because of your hair color?
Yes. Yeah. And it was very strange to have that kind of circular type haunting that he was at the theater. And then when you get to his home, he was a totally different person.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with him there, and then you get back to the theater and he's all this rough and gruff and, grumbly kind of guy. And then you get home and he's still grumbly, but he's not bad. I mean, you can have interaction with him and he's pretty cool, but things are still going on in that home to this day. There's things being moved around, lights being turned on, turned off, and doors being unlocked and opened, and strange noises from the basement. So, it is a very strange story.
Yeah, it is. And like you were talking about, like the house and stuff was abandoned. So this has been, I think it was back in 2010, down in a town called Thayer, Missouri, really small town. It's right on the Missouri-Arkansas border. My husband and I bought a house, and we had 50 acres. And there was the original house, and actually it had a little bit of history to it. It was actually the first house in that county to have indoor plumbing. So
wow.
So when we bought it, they gave us the thing that they had from the newspaper way back in the day, that with a picture of the house, that it was the first one in that county to have the indoor plumbing, which is kind of cool. So behind this house, though, was another old house. And then there was a barn off to the right. And so when I went there, it just like, I was immediately drawn. I loved the place. I absolutely loved that place. And the man that we ended up buying the house from, so he was telling us about that it was actually his parents built that house. That was his childhood home. And the house behind was where his grandma lived. And so his grandma loved animals, and he was talking about that. And we had when I moved down there, we raised Missouri Foxtrotter horses, and at that time I had 22 head of horses. I also raised alpacas, and I had 27 head of alpacas, and English Mastiff dogs, and I had 6 of them. So we had quite a bunch of animals ourselves. So, but around my house was white pipe fence. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's fencing.
Yeah.
Out of pipe. And we had a stud horse, and his name was Blue. And he got to where he started like losing weight. And so I had the vet out to look at them. The vet said, you need to get a friend in there for them. Well, you just can't put anything in with a stud horse, because they'll, So my friend was getting rid of alpacas, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try the alpacas. So anyway, we put the alpacas in there. He made friends. He wasn't pacing all the time, and anyway, he gained weight and he looked great. However, point to my story. So we ended up getting a bunch more alpacas, and there was one night that we came home, and my gates, I had actual locks on it, not like with keys, but like clip locks where the animals couldn't just lift the little latch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they were clipped in. And I came home one night, and all my alpacas were out all over the yard, and the gate had been clip locked. So that was kind of weird, got all the alpacas back in, didn't really think much about it. So my daughter was, at this time, she was probably 15, 16 at the time. And she started telling me that she is seeing like weird shadows in her room. And she was never like scared of any house we lived in. And I had 2 of the English Mastiffs were house dogs. And so she wanted the dogs in her room. And I'm like, whatever, it's fine, sleep with them. So like I said, we had the horses, and my husband raised and trained and broke all of our horses. And we did a lot of showing. And so he was into all of that stuff. And we had a round pen for him to do the training with some of the young horses. And he had been out in the pen working with one particular horse, and it was time to eat lunch. So I was out there, my daughter Brittany was out there, and we all went inside, and we had a little window out the bathroom, and my daughter went in there, and she came out and she said, hey, Ray, did you turn KK loose? And Ray's like, no, and nobody had been out. It was just 3 of us there at the house. So we went outside, and the horse had not only been let out of the round pen, but Ray had left, he had the halter and a lead rope hanging from him. And because he was a hard one to catch, so he was in the pen. So that was the easy way to catch him, until Ray let him loose. Anyway, so we had the lead rope hanging from him. Laying outside of the round pen was the halter and the lead rope, all nicely like woven. Not woven, but like, spiraled like you do an extension cord. Right. It's laying there. Now, a horse isn't going to do that. I'm just saying. How did the horse get it off? Number one.
Yeah,
Number 2,
exactly.
Right. Number 2, how did the horse get out of the pen? So that was kind of like, I'm like, okay, this is some weird moments. And still, nothing really freaky or scary, because the house was not scary a bit.
Right, right.
There was another time that I was at work. I came home. I had to pee really bad. And I had mentioned we had.
We do that often, everybody. That's
right.
What happens when your bladder gets old.
Right. So I had mentioned that I had the English Mastiff dogs, but I also, at the time, I had a blue heeler that was also a house dog. And she was, she was a working dog. She worked the animals, and she was in heat. And so I had Diesel and Detroit were my English Mastiffs, and they were the house dogs. But when Maggie was in heat, we would have to keep the 2 of them separated, just so there's no issues. They loved each other when Maggie wasn't in heat, but couldn't stand each other when Maggie was in heat. So I come home, and I'm like, and Maggie was in the crate. I'm like, I'll get you out of here in a minute. Let me go to the bathroom. And I opened the door, and I threw Detroit out, is who I threw out first to go do his thing.
Right.
So I'm getting done going to the bathroom, and I hear a dog fight. So I run outside. Not only is Maggie out of her crate, out of the room, but Diesel was let out also. So I had to get the dogs apart, get Maggie inside, and I realized then that it hit me that the man who lived there, and he was talking about his grandmother loved animals. Our haunting was literally around our animals. And I believe she meant to help me, because I was like, I'll get you in a minute, to get outside. And I truly believe she meant to help me. However, it was just kind of a bad situation that Maggie was in season. So
Right.
that was just really, really weird, because all of that kind of stuff. Several times we came home and Blue, the stud horse, was over. We had alpacas. You have to keep the males and females separated because the males will just totally run the females to death, no matter if they're in season, pregnant, whatever. And so we had the male alpacas in with our stud horse, and came home one night and our stud horse was in with the female alpacas. How that happened? Gates were shut. I have no idea. No idea. So it was a haunting, yes, but there was nothing scary. And I truly believe she just loved our animals.
She's like, don't lock them up, leave them out.
Right. I believe that. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It was just, it was really cool. There's other little stories, like I said, we had a bunch of horses there, and there is one creepy story though. And I think I've told it before, but I'll tell it again. Like I said, there's 50 acres there, and the horses and the alpacas knew when they heard the truck come home, it was time to eat. They all run up. They could hear we had a diesel truck, and they could hear that, and they would all come up to the fence, time to eat. So there's one particular night we pull up, there's nobody, not an alpaca, not a horse, nothing. So we had
that's weird.
Yeah. So we had the alpacas were kind of close to the house just because, there's predators, that kind of thing. And we looked over and they were all over huddled in a corner, which was kind of weird because they don't do that. And they like to eat, and the horses, they were nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Like went out, did the call for them. I'm like, oh my God.
And that's strange because animals are creatures of habit. If they know that diesel truck is coming, they're going to be there for the food.
Yeah, absolutely. So we ended up, I was telling Ray that, they probably got loose out there with the guy's cows. So let's, go find out where they are. So by this time it's dark, and he took his flashlight and he goes out there, and he was gone for a good 25 minutes. And my husband came back up and he said, there's something out in the woods. He said, it followed me with the lights. I could see its eyes. He see an eye shine. And I'm like, okay, but I don't care about that. Did you find my horses, And he's like, I don't see them. They're not out there. So he come up to get in the truck. I'm like, okay, by this time I'm getting in the truck. I'm going with you. My daughter, Brittany, she's like, I'm going with you. So we drove down to the bottom of the field and shining the light. I never seen anything. We didn't see any other eye shine. And driving through there, still no horses. And the property, you could drive all the way around the whole border of it. There was a path that we had made with the tractor. Nothing. There's no horses. There's no holes in fences. There's nothing. So we come back up to the house. Now I'm getting a little worried, because that's like all my animals. And all at once we were outside. We were getting out of the truck. Ray had kind of walked back a little bit again. Well, he come back in. He got his gun. That's another thing. He took his pew pew with him.
His pew pew.
Yep. So he was walking back up the hill, and you could start to hear a herd of horses. I mean, like if you've never heard horses run, then you can hear them coming from far away. So sure enough, here they come running, and Ray about almost got run over. I mean, they were like scared. It was obvious. It was obvious they were scared. So what was keeping them back there? What was the eye shine that Ray saw? I have no idea. And I will tell you this, my husband is a non-believer. So he's like, it was a cat or a bear or something. And maybe it was, maybe it truly was, but I feel like a cat or a bear, I don't know. I just don't feel like a horse would run from them, especially 22 of them.
Correct.
I could be wrong on that. But I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness in that county. I do know Marley Woods, we were told, is right there at that county. That's not too far from that house. So anyway, it was just a weird place to live, but I loved it there. And the only reason we moved back up here is I lost my grandma and Ray lost his dad, so we come back up here with family. Otherwise, I'd still be living there in that same house.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Crazy. That's my story, my haunted house.
And well, isn't that enough? No, it's not enough for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I said, though, it wasn't scary at all, not at all. Just
right. Well, Catherine had said, now I know we're creeping up on the 52-minute mark. We got to take a little 10-second break. And Catherine was saying, hey, have you been to the most haunted hotel in Arkansas? I said, I have. I didn't tell her that, but yes, I have. And Catherine, you probably missed it when we were talking about it. It's where I got that one-of-a-kind picture. If Krista can get it all, together again, after our little 10-second break, we'll pull it up. My daughter and I, every year, my youngest one, she's 13. Every year we decide, hey, we're going to go visit a haunted location. And it's usually, a hotel or something like that. And 2 years ago, she decided, hey, well, let's go to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Let's stay at the Crescent Hotel. So I got into looking at it, and my gosh, my eyes about popped out of my head when I saw how expensive the rooms were. I was like, honey, there is no way that we could stay on this on a weekend. It's absolutely a no-go. You're talking about $300 and up for these rooms.
Crazy.
And the rooms, I mean, they're okay, but they're nothing luxurious and things that we would think of as a $300 a night room. So I had got, for some reason, the next day, I had got this deal that shot through to my email and said, hey, we've got this available, da-da-da-da-da. And it was like half the price if we went during the week while I was off on vacation for the week. So let's take a 10-second break, and then I'll finish that up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Okay.
Anyway, so we're all dancing through this. So, I got it for like 4 days and 3 nights, and I'm thinking this will be cool. We'll be able to, explore the town and see what's going on. We'll take some of the ghost tours. We took every ghost tour they had available. And we did the Crescent Hotel. We did the Park Basin. We did downtown Eureka Springs. Anything that we could find, we did. We even went to the tour that has the part that has the underground tunnels. They don't go in very far, but you can see and basically understand what they were going through. And once they describe it to you, you can see why the when you're standing on them, how they're kind of weird. It's because they've shifted. I mean, they're still structurally sound. They've just shifted. So they're just not quite right in some spots when you're walking through on the street. And so my daughter and I, took these all the time. Well, we stayed in the Crescent Hotel, and they had tours, and the tours run constantly. So there are people running up and down the halls all the time. And about 11 o'clock, that's it. There's no more tours. Everything quiets down, but there are still a few people, skirting around the hotel. Well, that was my daughter and I that night. We decided, hey, let's go check it out. Let's see what's going on. So we've been hearing stuff that was outside our door in this hallway. Now, they were having this story about this little boy and how he'd be playing with toys or whatever in the hallway. I don't know about this little boy. I don't know anything. I didn't see him. I didn't hear him. I don't know about him. But there was, like I said, there was noises. So we decided, hey, we're going to investigate out here and see what's happening. So we sat out there for quite some time. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take some pictures. But I looked around me and I made sure that there were no pictures on the wall. There's no furniture. There's no flowers. There was
Mhm.
absolutely nothing in this hallway when I was taking pictures. I even took a video afterwards showing that there was nothing in the hallway, and I still have that in my archive. But I took this picture, and it was staring out a window, and we were on the second floor, and it was showing just the fire escape and how the trees looked outside. And I was like, well, I'll just take a picture here. Now
Mhm.
you could definitely, because it was getting dark, very dark, and you could see my big head with my big hair in the way. I told my daughter, I said, just stand behind me because I can already see my glare in it. Let's just, put yours there so we're not seeing your glare too. So she said, okay. And she went behind me. So I snapped a picture. And I personally could not believe what I caught because I didn't even look at it until later. We were too busy running around looking at stuff, taking pictures everywhere. And when I found this picture, you can definitely see the glare of my head, in the window as I'm looking out. But if you look on the left-hand side, and there's a stairway that comes down just a little bit, there's a stairway, you can see a woman, and she's kind of looking over her shoulder, and she's looking straight at the camera, and I'm not kidding. She's looking straight. She was a full-bodied, in color
Yep, she is.
manifestation.
Mhm.
In color.
Yeah.
So I'm all excited about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I caught this. Well, Keith Age, he's been on several shows, been around for many, many years, a great paranormal investigator, super awesome guy. I sent it out, and he's like, hey, look on the other side. So when I got to looking at the picture and I see this beautiful woman on my left, I look on my right, and on the right, there is a ghostly figure, full-bodied apparition
Keep
on the
talking.
other
I'm going to
side
look
of
and
me.
see. I've got that picture on here somewhere. I'm going
If
to
you
put
can,
that up. So keep
yeah,
talking
if you
about
can
it.
share that, with your computer versus just showing the picture, you can blow that up. You can zoom in on it.
Yep. All right. Let me look.
But I mean, it's on the other side of me, and you can see it. It's like wearing a hat or something. And I know I've showed that on here, but I have never seen a picture that anybody has ever taken ever anywhere that has two full-bodied apparitions and two different styles, just standing right on each side of me. So this picture truly is amazing. Like I said, I don't even know how to explain it. There are a lot of pictures that Krista and I have looked at and said, I have no idea. And this is really, really one of those places. Now, I would love to go back and to redo it again, but I think I would have to go back when it's not so busy, to see what happens. Because
Yep,
during
I'm
the
looking. I don't think
during the
it's
spring.
let me share the screen. I'm going to have to just put it up because
Okay.
It's not a new page. It's my computer, so that's why it's not wanting to do it that way.
Okay. So the late spring, summer, and early fall, well, maybe even late fall, that place is usually really busy. Usually most times of the year, just dead of winter, it's there's nothing going on, but most times it is pretty full. Moon saying, show it. But like I said, I
I'm
have never
slow at
seen.
this, but I got you here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Let me see if I can. I don't know if it'll let me do it. I just tried to present it, and it's not letting me share this.
Get it up there now. Yeah,
Hold on. I'm still figuring this stuff out myself here.
I know. Just when you think you got to figure it out, it changes.
Hold on. I might have this. I might. I might have this.
She's like, please work.
Please work.
And It was like we were on Barton's show. He had a special right before this one, and
Mhm.
my gosh, this YouTube kicked me straight up out of there, just gone. I was there 1 minute, and next minute I was like, "Oh, what happened?" I didn't know what happened. I had to reboot everything to get back into the
Yeah.
show.
It's not going to let me do that. So I'll just have to put it up like this. I apologize, everybody. I wish I could make it bigger so we can zoom in, but there it is.
Yeah, there it is. If you can look, you'll see my big old head and hair
Mm-hmm.
right in the middle. That is my reflection right there.
Mhm.
But if you look off to the left, you'll see the beautiful woman who is staring directly at the camera.
Yep. And she's definitely like in period clothing. Her hair.
She's got her hair done up nice. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of looking like she wears a shawl or something there.
Yeah.
And then if you look on the right side, look at that. Look at that person right there. Can you see the hat there?
Mhm.
And the it's the wispy white, like when everybody says they see a ghost and they talk about a white ghostly apparition. That is exactly classic textbook right there. But you could just see
and
it.
She looks African American to me.
Kinda, or Italian. Now, I will tell you the rest of the story because I went downstairs and I was talking to the front desk clerk that was down there, and I was showing her this picture, and I'm like, look at her, it was just me and my daughter there, and look at her. And she says, you know what? There is a picture over there, and it was across the lobby sitting in a little library area that they have. She goes, there's a picture on that shelf over there. Why don't you go look over at that? Because that looks like her. I sure went over there, and it does look exactly like that woman whose picture is on that shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody says above the woman looks like a man's shirt. I'm not sure if I see that. I'm looking for the woman. I don't really see that. I mean, but anything's possible,
Yeah. I mean, we didn't, I've blown this thing completely up.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the two things that are the only things that were not in the room.
Well, and the fact that, Keith Age looked at it and, he's one of those G's of the paranormal, and
Keith Age is got so much experience under his belt. We're talking decades of debunking and going over pictures and video and audio and like I said, he's got decades and he's relatively famous. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's
so like I said, it has been verified. So I mean, you can't I can't debunk it. I can't repeat it. I can't even do anything with it. The only thing that I can do is try to go back and catch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe catch it somewhere else. So if you go to the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs in Arkansas, we stayed in room 226. That is a queen bed, just to let you know. A very small queen bed in a very small queen room. But it was down that hallway, directly kitty corner from it. As you can take the stairway down, or you can go to that hallway. We were in that hallway next to the stairway. So there you go, room 226. And a lot of things happen. They say that the second floor, which we stayed on, is the most haunted.
Very cool.
Floor. So there you go.
The one place that I want to go to is over in Estes Park, Colorado. And
Stanley.
The Stanley, yeah. And do you know why? Yeah. Because I heard there are ghost fish at the Stanley.
I went through there. And I'm going to tell you, it was probably back in the 90s. I'm not going to even date that. Anyway, it was back in the 90s. I went over there, and I just took a tour. Because they don't want people walking through just to walk through that hotel. So you can take a tour. We took a tour. I didn't see anything or feel anything crazy. But then again, like we always know that not everything happens when you're looking for it. You just, you got to spend some time, wait a little bit, and things will happen. It is a very unique hotel. You could see where the carpeting and the walls back in the 90s when I went to see it, you could see the carpeting and the walls would drive you absolutely mad. They
Right.
did me. I was like, this all looks crazy. It
Mhm.
does things with your eyes, and you're like, okay, wait, just
Yeah.
wait. So I don't know if they ever changed that or redid it. I'm sure they have,
Yeah.
but it is a spooky place.
Yeah.
It is
Somebody,
spooky. Just
somebody
walking
said
around, it's kind of creepy.
on the Facebook side that's watching, there's several on Facebook watching, asked about the ghost fish. And yes, that is true. They say that there is a big fish aquarium there, and ghost fish appear in it. I have no idea. Don't know anything about it except for that. And I think that'd be cool just to see a ghost fish.
I would do. But the bad thing is about, like I said, very famous haunted hotels like that is they're always crowded.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of peace, but you're not really going to get that,
No. And there's not really much you can do as far as investigating unless it's your own room.
Right. We did stay in, another year we stayed in the Arlington, which is in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed in the Arlington, which, rumor has it that it was a Capone hot spot. It was his, like a vacation spot. That hotel was his vacation spot. So when I made that reservation, of course, that hotel was not as expensive. And so I just rented a room. I didn't rent any specific room, just a room. We ended up like halfway down the hallway from the Capone suite, the one he always rented. So we ended up very close to it, So her and I would hang out in the room, and then we'd hang out in the hallway. We'd walk around. We'd try to find everything. And then so one night we just gave up, I'm sitting in the room and I don't know. I think I'm playing on my phone and she's sleeping. Next thing you know, there's this big old like knock in the bathroom. And I mean, it was super loud. Now, at this time, we got awesome rates again, because there was nobody there at this time. It was in between the weekend and a bike rally. That's all I got to say about that.
Awesome.
So there was absolutely nobody there. There was two other people on our floor, two other rooms on our floor that were occupied. One was around the corner down on the end, and the other one was on the other side down the corner. So there was nobody in that particular area at all where we were.
Wow. Very cool.
And had this big old thing. And then next thing you know, I'm getting my K2 meter out, and I'm checking it out. And then it happened to get in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, nope, not going in there. Thank you very much.
Right.
My hunting partner is sleeping, but I did get it on video, everybody. So I do have that in archive where that happened. I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. There's just, there's so many different really cool places with so much history. You've been to the Pythian Castle, haven't you?
Yes, been to the Pythian. Had a couple things happen there. Yeah.
Let's talk briefly on the Pythian Castle, because it's in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
And, I've been there a handful of times myself, and it was Knights of the Pythian, and what a crazy place that is. What a beautiful place, actually, that is.
It is a very beautiful place.
Yeah,
very beautiful.
The lady that bought it, she bought it sight unseen. She wanted to open a bed and breakfast. And what little did she know what she was buying into. It is not a bed and breakfast. She's never turned it into a bed and breakfast. It's been for events and things like that. I know Groucho Marx and Bob Hope used to play there back in the day. And it's just a lot of history at that place. And what do you know about it, Brandi?
Well, I know that it used to be a school of some sort, and the boys and girls were separated. That they would have to eat in separate dining halls. They lived on separate wings. They did quite a few things like that. They did have a military presence there at one time.
They actually have jail cells in the basement.
Yes. Yes.
There also used to be a bowling alley in the basement. A lot of people don't realize that, but there was.
Yeah. Yes, there was. I mean, the basement is super cool too. The basement is just, it's all kinds of creepy, and they have this I want to call it a tunnel. It's not very big.
No.
Yeah, it's not very wide at all. But you can go down this tunnel and stuff, and people have reported.
And it's probably, how many feet back would you say that is? I'm guessing here, I would say every bit 200 feet.
Probably.
Every bit of 200 feet. Here's the catch with the tunnel. Because, we've held a lot of events there. And
right.
So when I used to take, people down there. The tunnel never bothered me, but a lot of people who are new to the paranormal, it freaks them out. And I always tell them, so you remember, it's like single file. You can't walk side by side in the tunnel. It's literally single file. And so I always tell people, okay, whoever wants to go first, remember, you're going to be in the back on the way coming back, because you just got to turn around and walk out. So I would always try to nobody liked to be in the back. It didn't bother me. So I would kind of try to take the lead back and squeeze my way to the back when it was time to walk out. But, there's been a lot of footsteps and you could ask them to, there's like some kind of pipes, metal pipes down there. You know what I'm talking about, Brandi?
Yes.
And they say that, and it's true. You can say, hey, can you knock on the pipe a few times? And, and they do it. So that's a cool piece of history there, the Pythian and
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and we all know that the most hated ghost hunter on earth, he did a show there and he yet was yelling demons and he hadn't even went in the building.
Right.
I was like, there's no demons there.
No, absolutely not.
He's like, I heard a growling at me and I saw these eyes and I was like, oh gosh, please just stop.
Get over yourself. Seriously, get over yourself.
Right.
Yeah, because that place, there's a lot of activity there. So actually the very first time I went there, which was really cool, the bathroom is beautiful. And that's a weird thing to say. However, but the bathroom is beautiful. And there's a room off of the bathroom that it was like a sitting room, and it still is. And this is off the women's bathroom. And I went into the bathroom one night. Well, it was my first trip there to the Pythian, and did my thing and come out, and I heard footsteps in the bathroom with me. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. So I went into that other room and was kind of just sit there listening by myself. And the stall doors opened and shut. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So an old teammate member of mine, Danny, he was right out there. I'm like, hey, come here. And I drug him in the women's bathroom. I was like, you got to witness this. And he witnessed it. We sat down in that room and he actually witnessed it. Now, to this day, since we've made a lot of people, we put it out there, it's like, hey, if there's no women go in the bathroom, feel free to go back there and do your thing. Well, since then, she's kind of blocked that area off where people.
Oh, no.
Because women, had to go to the bathroom and there's men back there. So,
right.
Yeah, I get it. But that was quite an area. That was honestly one of my favorite locations in that whole building to investigate was that bathroom.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
And you're talking about beautiful bathrooms, and I'm just thinking about Waverly Hills Sanitarium. They have a beautiful bathroom. They redid that whole end, that whole wing over there, and that bathroom is beautiful. And I'm just loving how they're redoing all of this, to bring it back, just to bring these things back to the splendor that they used to be.
Right. Absolutely. We've got a few questions. Let's you feel like answering a few real quick?
Yeah. I'll answer a lot. I'm good.
All right. We'll start. There's like 4 of them here.
All right.
Facebook user says, do spirits happen immediately or do they have to take time to do? So here's my thing on this. I don't know really exactly what you mean, but like if they like just pass away and come right back, no, I don't believe that. I believe like when we die, we meet our maker, be it heaven or.
You have to be judged. I'm thinking you have to be judged. Now the time in heaven, as you know, is not the same on Earth. So we couldn't say exactly.
Right. So, but like, when you, or if I'm not quite understanding the full question. So, but maybe, I don't know if you mean like when we go to a location, do things happen immediately? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's the paranormal. You never know. It's very unpredictable. You never know
Exactly.
what's going to happen. So,
I have sat in locations and absolutely nothing has happened. And then I've sat in locations that I wish that it would stop so I could breathe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Glades Creature asked, how about reports of strange mist or fog being associated with dogmen? Now, I personally, I've heard it like on other people's shows and stuff, but I don't know anybody that's happened to. I'd love to talk to somebody.
I don't either. Now, I've heard it in reports, and in stories about there being a fog or a mist when these things are being seen.
Yeah.
But if that is supernatural, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Sharon Lane asked, have you stayed at the Elms in Excelsior Springs? I came in late to chat. So I personally have not stayed at the Elms. However, I've been by there. I know where it is. We used to investigate the Hall of Waters, which is just right around the corner from there. And our friend Erin's, who was in chat, she lives in Excelsior. So yeah, but I do know of different reports and things of the Elms being super, super haunted.
I might have to try that. I know where that is.
We should actually.
I think we should
go hang out with Kathy and Aaron and rent a room at the Elms.
Yeah, why don't we do a show there?
Heck yeah! Thanks, Sharon, for the idea.
Yeah, awesome. We'll have to set that up. We should do a show there because it's not that bad. I can get there easily. So yeah,
that'd be cool.
Okay,
that'd be cool. And then next question, Wedge asked, Blondes and Booze, have either of you been to a location that was too negative, creepy to go back to? Brandi, you want to answer that? Yours, and then I'll answer mine.
You know what? I'm going back. The creepiest place I've ever been to is the Haunted Hill House there in Mineral Wells, Texas. That's one of the places the activity was so hot and heavy and just kept going and going and going that I was really questioning if I'd be able to make the whole night. I did, but I have questions. So guess who's going back? I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going back. It's already booked. I'm set to go.
Yeah. As far as like public locations, my scariest one was a private case, but I did go back. but
yeah, you have to.
For me as a public place, I would say it's the general store in Potosi, Missouri.
Yeah, that was pretty wicked too. The only reason why that was not a scary place, I'm just saying for me, it made me ill. Like sick. I know for you, Krista, it was a different, it was a whole different because you were actually choked. But for me, I was physically ill from the time I walked in. I probably 10 minutes in when I walked into the building until the time I got out.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah.
I think there's something wrong there.
Oh yeah. For me, it was definitely, I was attacked there, I was choked and I couldn't breathe. I had to walk down those steps. And if it wasn't for my teammate, Danny, that drugged me out of there, really it was, and then dumb me. So, I was like, man, I had somebody talk me in, go back in there, face your fear. It wasn't this time. It had been, a time or two after that.
Right.
And dumb me, I go back in there. Like, okay, so, but yeah. And that night, the person that talked me into going in there is the one that got scratched that night.
Oh my gosh.
Scratched.
Glenn asked, isn't that the little town with the huge building in the middle, Mineral Wells? Yeah, there's a haunted hotel down there. And I can't think of the name right now, but it is under renovation and it is not open as far as I know.
Yeah. Facebook user says, when you see a ghost, is you apt to let them know you see them? Yes or no? Yeah. if they do appear, I mean, honestly, I don't run away from it. I'll be like, hey,
Oh gosh, no.
I seen you, or can you do this? So then we try to interact a little more, and
we're trying to learn about it, what it is, who it is, what do they want, that sort of thing. They can offer clues to the history to the place too. So we do ask questions when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, it's just, there's just a lot of weird, crazy, cool buildings out there. And, not all of them are bad. Not all of them are good. And, on Bart's show earlier, the gentleman that he had on, his guest was talking about like doing CE5 and dabbling in different things. And here's the thing, guys, it's not all what the TV shows make this stuff out to be.
No.
You can go down rabbit holes that you can't close.
Right.
And, TV makes it look fun and it's active all night. It's not like that. I know the gentleman was talking about the CE5, and for me, I feel like a lot of this stuff is about intentions and things like that. So if you go in there and you don't set your intentions, like that you only want to see positive and love and light stuff, then you could potentially get something that you can't control. What do you think?
That is absolutely true what you said, Krista. I mean, it's kind of like, when we talk about spirit boxes or a Ouija boards or anything, it's all about intent. If you just go in there willy-nilly and just like, we're just going to play with this, that's when you're getting yourself in trouble. Going there and doing things like that is crazy. Knowledge is power. When you learn how to use these things and use them correctly, then you're okay.
Right.
But you have to be able to control your intent.
And you need to go with experienced people. I don't recommend somebody who's never done anything like this or witnessed any type of ghost activity to go, to a abandoned haunted location by themselves. I don't recommend it. That's one thing too. We don't go alone or anything like that. You always got to have somebody to watch your back because, number one, no matter what your faith is and how strong you believe, there's always that small chance. Either you can get followed, you can get jumped, you always want someone there to watch your back, Yeah.
Because you never know what situation is where. I mean, we've talked about it several times that you could walk into a situation where it seems harmless.
Right. And that's what they do. They want to be your friend. And then there you go. You just open the door and you just let them in. And believe me, I've seen the true demonic and it's nothing you want to mess with. It's truly nothing you want to mess with.
There's a lot of speculation about, the welcome doormat and how you do this and how you do that. And Krista and I will always tell you, if you are a true believer in God and bask yourself in light, you'll never have an issue. You won't. As long as you're a true believer in God, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm.
And me personally, like I always, God is who my belief goes to. So I always say before I do any location, haunted, private, public event, that, I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. And I do the same thing when I leave. Like, Brandi's talked about that. Like, no, you guys can't come home with us. And, but it's your intention. You have to, words are just words. You can say these words all day long, but if you don't truly believe them in your heart, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
They're just words.
Yeah, there's a couple people that have been out with me and then heard me say that. They're like, "Why are you saying that?" I said, "Why, do you want something to come home with you?"
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I didn't want you to come home with me, I was like, "No, you got to stay here."
Right.
What are you going to tell them? The same thing. No, I want you to stay here. You're not coming with me.
Right. Absolutely. And then Facebook user asks, "How can you tell if they're good or bad?" So for me,
you can't always tell right away.
No. A lot of times you can't, but a lot of times, as far as like private cases, you kind of know what's going on with the family. And it doesn't mean, now I will stress this too. When you do a private case and they're saying, they got scratched, say.
Well,
That doesn't mean that it was something negative
demonic.
or demonic. It could be just a spirit that tried to get their attention, or
Right.
not meaning to physically hurt them.
Right.
I mean, it's just, there's just so much to it. So, but for me, now when there's a true demonic entity, I get dizzy. And Brandi actually witnessed that last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't been around a true demonic entity since, I don't know, our last case was 2018, something like that, 2019. And I hadn't felt that until this particular location that Brandi and I went to, and in the basement, and wholeheartedly, I got dizzy. Brandi, I actually had to hold on to Brandi.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then when I left the basement and we went upstairs, I was fine. I was like, oh, I'm telling you, girl, don't go, because she was putting equipment out. And I'm like, I don't get this feeling very often. But I trust.
Well, yeah, we did ask about that location, and we asked about it in the basement, that if there was something ever demonic there or something like that. I don't know if they leave a residual energy or anything in there. I don't know how it all works. I mean, I'm not an expert. Mm-hmm. But they said that there have been reports that there was a demonic entity down there. Mm-hmm. Whether it had been exorcised or not, it's anyone's guess. Mm-hmm. That, they don't tell you that. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, and if people are curious, like I said, I've done the demonic type stuff too. So to figure out if it's truly a demonic or just a nasty, they're not only that, I don't just go off of that for when we're working a case. It's different things that you can do, and different questions you can ask people. Number one, your normal ghost is not going to throw a refrigerator across the room. That's usually on the demonic type side when you start getting things like that. So if someone is having the oppress, starting with the different stages of the oppression of being possessed, holy water, give them a drink a bottle of water and put a little bit of holy water in there. And if they can drink it, chances are they're just, it's not fully taken effect yet, or not really started to. If they can't even touch the bottle, or, accidentally spill a little on them, whatever, that's another sign too, because they can't do the holy water. Right. Exactly. So I mean, there are so many mm-hmm. signs to know, but that doesn't mm-hmm. mean you're going to know right away. That's what makes it terrifying. Right. Yep. Lolo has a good question, Brandi. Okay. Says, what do you think about asking for protection before watching paranormal movies on YouTube? You know what? Those are fiction. Just the horror movies. Now, even on YouTube, though, look at some of the stuff we watch on YouTube with the ghost stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. And I've heard of people like having issues of they're watching a show and, things start happening in their house. I've heard of that. So, Yeah, but do you possibly think that that's just somebody who's got their door open or their light on, leaving that window open? Because for us, it's second nature. We just shut it down. It's just kind of like we're interested because we're looking for knowledge. So we're looking at these things to see what these people did, how this entity reacted, and what they did about it. That's what we're doing. We're looking for knowledge. Now, anybody who is looking at this for entertainment and leaving that door open or that light on, saying, hey, come here, look at me. I'm watching. I'm paying attention. Yep. It's possible. So we'll address this real quick, and then we'll have to cut the show, though. Sharon Lane asks, do you have an opinion about the incidents at the Screaming House in Union, Missouri? I very much do. So know exactly where that house is. She got screamed at. Oh, yeah. Know exactly where that house is. And I know the people who actually investigated it with Stephen LaChance before he wrote his book, The Uninvited. And truly, that house played off of fears. So this Stephen LaChance who lived there, and he had 3 children, and his true fear was,
not being able to get to his children. And unfortunately, there was a time in that house, it was upstairs in one of the bedrooms, that it was true demonic entity. I believe it was true demonic entity there. Would not let him to his children. His children were trying to open the door and he was trying to get in and they couldn't. And so that it goes on and on. There's, pets die there. Nobody can keep animals there. There used to be a tree, and I noticed here it just got, I don't know how long ago, but from the time I'd been there before, was cut down. So the tree was a hanging tree, and they say that people have seen like someone hanging from the tree out there. That tree is now gone. However, the whole street, it's just a small little street, but there's been a lot of death on that street. There's been suicides, there's been murders. And it's just in a town called Union, Missouri. It's not a bad area, so it's just a lot of weirdness going on there.
On our channel, Krista did a little video of the Screaming House. You can go back and check it out. Did you do it on members only, or is that for everybody? I didn't remember.
Members only. I think I did on members.
If it's members only, we can go back and right after this, I'll go back and release it so everybody can watch that. And I'll release a couple of the videos that were for members. They've already gotten their first look at it. So we'll start releasing some of those so everybody else can see them.
Yeah. So
but you can see it. Yeah. You can see the house for sure.
Yeah. So Sharon, and actually when I was there, I was doing my little thing and a living person yelled, "What are you doing out there?" And I'm like,
that's what I said. You got screamed at.
Yeah, I literally got screamed at. So I had my kid with me too. It was kind of
oh gosh. Well, anyway, it is hour and 30 minutes. We got to get off of here. Paranormal Roundtable should be on by now. Or
I got the notification there.
Okay, good. So let's get off of here so everybody can go on over there and check it out.
Real quick, remind everybody about next time change.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so remember, next Thursday, we are coming on at 8:00, but we are changing our time on Friday to 7 p.m. Central. So make sure you have your notifications on. So it'll notify you, a little before 7 or right at 7, let you know, because we are changing just to adjust for all of our podcasting families. So you can watch all of the content.
Yep.
Live.
So you don't have to miss anybody.
That's right.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Remember, Wolf is going to be co-hosting with us on Thursdays and
yes.
go through this month for sure and kind of talk maybe about some of March too. So anyway, just stay tuned for that. And we appreciate everybody. Love y'all.
Love y'all. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Good night.